All right, I'm live. Just in time, it looks like. Yep, just in time. I was running late today, and but I'm here somehow. I'll just monologue here for a few minutes, and then I'll get on with the show today. Oops. Well, today was an interesting day. Hold on a second. All right. Today I woke up. Oh no, I'm gonna spill that. Well, this morning I had an appointment with my doctor, did that, and then I had to go and pay the electric bill. Hello, Carlos. How are you this Thursday afternoon? I don't remember right now. But yeah, and so I got up. I went to go and pay the electric bill. I had to walk about 3 miles. No, not 3 miles, like a mile and a half, something like that. And then I had to Then I had to, no, then I noticed I'm walking by the electric company, and then because I live in Trenton, the capital of New Jersey, so I was walking by, all the buildings, the state legislature building, and all that shit. Oh, by the way, the state legislature building had been closed for a couple of years because of asbestos. You know, the the mold. Basically, it was mold in the building. The building been around since like the 1700s. So the legislatures hang out and stuff. So that's still closed, but I happened to be walking by and there were a bunch of the state legislatures still with masks. Like they still had goddamn masks on. Can you believe that? It's 2023 and these people still have masks on. Like it's some kind of it was like some kind. It's like it's 2020 and it's like 2020 and we still have like masks. Like we need masks or something because if we don't have masks, then you know, then we're screwed because we're all going to get COVID. They still had masks on, like those N95 masks where it covers everything from here, like the surgeons have. They still had those masks on. Some of these officials, that are here in New Jersey, here in Trenton. So, ah. So yeah, they were still wearing masks. And I'm like, what the fuck, really? You fuckers still wearing masks? Like seriously, this is beyond ridiculous. And on top of that, our electric bill in New Jersey's gone up 20% when compared to this time last year, which is great. How the hell are we supposed to afford our electric bill if it goes up 20% every year? Or not every year, from this year to last year, from last year to this year, around the same time. It's like, come on, man. I mean, it's insane. 20% increase in our electric bill, that's like a $20 difference. And I could use this $20 right now. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining. I mean, I don't want to be the one bitching about my bills, but you know, but a 20% increase is a lot of money. I mean, for me at least. So yeah, I just wanted to randomly talk about this. I couldn't believe people still wear masks. 2023, almost 2024 next year, almost next year already, and people are still wearing masks like it's some kind of like we're supposed to be still wearing masks. And I haven't worn a mask since like late 2021. And we're 23 still, and people still wearing masks in the State House and the Capitol building here and New Jersey Department of Health. That building. I mean, that building. You don't live in Trenton, you know what I'm talking about. New Jersey Department of Health building. They opened a new building recently, and it cost like $100 million, something like that. And I remember specifically reading about how New Jersey, like the governor, used COVID funds in order to finish the building. Like, what the fuck? COVID funds? So like, come on, dude, I could have used some of that money. So, oh no, we gotta finish a New Jersey Department of Health building, which costs over $100 million to build. Like, come on, man. Only Democrats are that corrupt, and Republicans too, but but Democrats are especially corrupt. I mean, they use our money to do whatever the hell they want, and oh yeah, here, let's just spend millions of dollars opening the New Jersey Department of Health building here in Trenton for no reason. It's like, come on, man, we're in 2023. I get why it's the Department of Health, but still, I mean, do you really need a brand new building that costs $100 million to build anymore? All right, enough about my rantings. So let's get to today's topic, which is Donald Trump being indicted again. Now the fourth time. Let's see, New York, uh, Washington, the Florida case, and now the Georgia case. That's four. Four. In fact, I saw on Twitter yesterday. I'm not sure how true this is, but the governor of Arizona was trying to convince her attorney general to indict Trump again in Arizona for election interference. Of course, as soon as that happened, I mean, it came out and she immediately backpedaled. But yeah, they were talking about a fifth indictment of Trump, and this time in Arizona. It's like, when will Democrats have enough from indicting this president or former president? I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, this is absolutely ridiculous. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I want to make sure because it seems like everything is good here, but I want to make sure everybody can hear me properly. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So thank you for I see 5 viewers so far. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight or today night. Like we're at it's like 7 o'clock at night or something. It's like 2:40 here in the East Coast, and here I am, just randomly talking here. So make sure you like and subscribe and share the stream. Very important. Excuse me. And let's get started because it's 2:40 almost, and it's been 10 minutes. I've been rambling on about the stuff I saw today in the centers of power here in New Jersey. So today, here we go. Donald Trump was indicted again. Today's Thursday. Was it last night? He was indicted recently in Georgia for election interference, and the DA in Fulton County, Georgia, Fannie Willis or Fonnie Willis, whatever the fuck her name is, decided to indict Trump under the RICO Act, which is reserved basically for organized crime, aka the mob. Of course, apparently Trump is the head of some criminal organization allegedly, and and not only did she indict Trump, she indicted 19 other people, including Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows, his former chief of staff, and a bunch of other people. So they all got indicted yesterday, last night, whenever it was. And I read the indictment. It's like 90 pages. It wasn't a big deal. And it's nonsense. I couldn't believe that this was seriously considered in the indictment. It's like, anyways, so I don't want to start with that particular. I want to start with, hold on a second. No, not that. I'll get around to that. Let's see. Where is it? What is that? No. Okay. So, not important. Alright, so we're going to start with some few videos here and there. And, let's see. What is that? I don't know why that's there. Let's start with this video because there's the judge, the judge that accepted the indictment, apparently made a joke, a little joke here. Let's try to make that a little bigger. Here it is. Hopefully everybody can see it.
That's it. Was it all you
Oops. Why is that low?
hoped it would be?
I'm not sure you heard that, but hold on.
That's it. Was it all you
That's it. Was that all you hoped to be?
hoped it would be?
Can you tell us what it says?
I didn't get a good look.
So basically, the Fulton County judge and the DA and the sheriff all made a giant joke out of this. Like, it's funny. Hey guys, I mean, is it all you want to be? I mean, Trump, we indicted Trump for no reason. So it's funny, isn't it, guys? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Hold on a second, I just want to see something here. All right, it looks good to me. Let's want to make sure all my shit is good. Apparently, my mic was kind of fucked up. Hold on. All right, here we go. Hopefully, everybody can hear me because I'm not sure everybody can hear me or not. I'm just blabbing away here without people able to hear me or not. So let's see. Hmm. So yeah, so the judge makes a joke out of it. Let's see. So we're gonna go over the indictment now, and there's a thread here done by this woman here. And you can see her. Whoops. Senior legal correspondent, Catholic, a conservative, but yeah, I mean, it's still, I read the indictment, so everything she has here is part of the indictment. So this is like a thread. So we're gonna go through all these. Um, yeah, hold on. Why is it? Let's see. Echo cancellation, noise suppression, blah blah blah. All right. Yeah, I mean, hmm, what was that? That's weird. Is it sound fine now? Because I didn't do that. Because as far as I know, everything is fine on my end. Let's see. Do all right. Let's see. Hopefully it's better. I don't know. Depends of. Let me just do that. Let's see. Oops. Come on. There you go. Hopefully that sounds better. If not, then let me know. But let's look at this. This is a part of the indictment. On or about the fourth day of November of 2020, Donald John Trump made a nationally televised speech falsely declaring their victory in 2020 presidential election. Approximately 4 days later, on or about October 31st, 2020, 4 days earlier, excuse me, Donald John Trump discussed a draft speech with unindicted co-conspirator Individual 1, whose identity is known to the grand jury. The falsely declared victory and falsely claimed voter fraud. The speech was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. Yay. So, in other words, I mean, how dare you tell the people that, you won the election? Because that's like a First Amendment thing to me. Let's see. So, this is Act 22 of the indictment. On or about the third day of December 2020, Donald John Trump caused to wait what? Caused to be tweeted from his Twitter account. That makes no sense. On or about the third day of December 2020, Donald John Trump caused to be tweeted from his Twitter account. Georgia hearings now on One American News Network. Amazing. This is an overt act and furthers into the conspiracy. What? How is that? How is a tweet an overt act continuing the conspiracy? That is beyond me at this point. I don't understand that at all. Jesus, I cannot wait until my new mic comes in. I ordered my new mic yesterday. It'll take like a week or two to come in because for reasons. That's just it. That suggests he didn't tweet it himself. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes no sense. What it says is on or about the third day, December 2020, Donald John Trump caused to be tweeted from his Twitter account. Georgia's hearing now. So in other words, like he didn't tweet it. It's like caused to be tweeted. Like he told somebody else to tweet it. But doesn't Trump run his own Twitter account or did at the time? He doesn't use Twitter anymore. But in getting at Trump, they will ultimately get at us, regular citizens. That's exactly what I'm. That's why when I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook and I point this stuff out, it's like, yeah, they will get us. This is not about Trump. When I'm defending Trump, this isn't about Trump. It's about the fact that they want to get us, the citizens, and they're using Trump as like a proxy. And people get mad at me because I'm defending Trump. But no, I'm not defending Trump. I'm pointing out how people, are using Trump, these people, in order to get at us. Lots of fake elector BS in here. So let's see this. Uh, on or about the third day, December 2020, Rudolph William Lewis Giuliani, aka Rudy Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Jenna blah blah blah, all those names, committed felony offense, solicitation of violation of oath of public officer, in violation of Georgia law, whatever that is, in Fulton County, Georgia, by unlawfully soliciting, requesting, and importuning. I don't know what the fuck that is. Certain public officials then serving as elected members of Georgia Senate and present at the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee meeting, including unindicted co-conspirator individual 8, whose identity is known to the grand jury. Including unindicted co-conspirator individual 8, blah blah blah. Okay, I read that already. Senators Lee Anderson, Brandon Beach, Matt Bass, Greg Dozell, all those names there, to engage in conduct constituting the felony offense of violation of oath of public officer. There's a statute there by unlawfully appointing presidential electors from Georgia in willful and intentional violation of the terms of the oath of said persons as prescribed by law with the intent of said persons engaging in said conduct. This was an overt act of furtherance of the conspiracy, and that makes no goddamn sense. It's like I'm reading this, and it just makes no goddamn sense. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, all these people it was an overt continuance, overt act of furtherance of the conspiracy. But the RICO laws were designed to go after the mob or organized crime, organized criminals, not like Donald Trump, a president trying to replace electors with his own electors in order to win the election. That makes no sense. I'm sorry, it's just not a thing that makes any sense. Alright, so let's see. A lot of fake electors. So what is this? So trying to pull in stuff from other states. Yeah, this is the thing about this lawsuit. I mean, about this indictment. They had Fani Willis, whatever her name is, decided to indict Trump on stuff that happened in other states. There's these 3 other states, which she alleges that is furtherance of the conspiracy. In order to overturn the election in Georgia, which makes no sense because it happened in other states. It didn't happen in Georgia, in Fulton County. It happened in other states, like in Michigan and New York Arizona. She still claims that. So let's read this part. That Dominion voting system equipment used November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Antietam County, Michigan, mistakenly recorded 6,000 votes for Joseph R. Biden when the votes were actually cast for Donald John Trump. Okay. Well, she's using other states in order to justify her indictment. Wait, how is this false? Let's see this. That Fulton County election workers at State Farm Arena ordered poll workers and members of the media to leave the tabulation area on the night November 3rd, 2020, and continue to operate after ordering everyone to leave. Well, that did happen. It's obvious that did happen because I remember that specifically when in Fulton County, Georgia, everyone was asked to leave, but they continued to operate without the observers there, which the media or people that are there to watch and make sure the votes were counted. I remember that, and then all of a sudden around 3 in the morning, on election day or day after election day, there were all these extra votes for Biden that didn't exist before, like thousands of votes, tens of thousands of votes. And the reason why I can talk about it now because YouTube changed its terms of service, and now we're allowed to talk about stuff. Even though before, we were not allowed to talk about stuff, and I would get banned, or at the very least get a strike. All right. So Carlos says, just think Michigan was all set to charge a previous governor and his cohorts with RICO violation for poisoning Flynn, and he got stopped then in his track by a new Democrat DA. Yeah, the the Democrats, they always cover up for, or at least before Trump, they always covered up for Republicans. But now that Trump became president, and now he's trying to run again, all of a sudden they won't cover up for Trump anymore. They're trying to charge him with everything under the book. He's been charged with like 90 different crimes in 4 different states. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. All right, so let's go to the next one. Hmm. The right to petition for free and full elections, is that a thing? No, listen. Act 38. On or about November 7th, the seventh day of December, 2020, William blah 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 blah. Let me try reading that again. On or about the seventh day of December 2020, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, or Rudy Giuliani, caused to be tweeted from the Twitter account Rudy Giuliani a retweet of an unindicted co-conspirator, Individual 8, whose identity is known to the grand jury, that stated, Georgia, a patriot call to action today. We need you to call your state senate and house reps. Sorry. Ask them to sign a petition for a special session. We must have free and fair elections in Georgia. Excuse me. This is our only path to ensuring every legal vote is counted. At real Donald Trump, this is an overact at furtherance of the conspiracy. Wait, what? So what they're saying here is Rudy Giuliani retweeted somebody else that basically said, we need you to sign a petition in order to get representatives in Georgia to change the results of the election. So how is this illegal? I don't understand how any of this is illegal. Yeah, how many times Democrats have done this where, oh yeah, we need you to change something, and we need you to sign a petition in order to get politicians to change something we don't like, guys. We don't like this, so we need you to sign a petition online in order to make sure we get the politician to change something we don't like. So how is this illegal again? I don't know. You got to ask Bonnie Williams or Willis, whatever her name is. So let's see. The establishment is showing their whole ass right now, no doubt about it. It's the last American vagabond, yep. Because Trump, Orange Man bad. Yeah, Orange Man, he's the retweets are violence, so no doubt about it. That's what at this point, this indictment is just beyond the joke. It's beyond the fucking joke at this point. And what's amazing is there's a lot of liberals and Democrats who tell me that this is a real indictment and this one will take Trump down. They swear to God. this indictment will take Donald Trump down, and let me make that a little bigger. There we go. It will take Donald Trump down, and he will go to prison the rest of his life, even though he's a former U.S. president, and U.S. presidents are essentially above the law. But yeah, somehow this ridiculous indictment will take Donald Trump down. So it's nonsense, as usual. But we can't. I mean, I try to poke a hole in liberals' their um their bubble, but we'll see what happens. I mean, they still insist on it to me in my mentions, even though it's nonsense. All right. So this is the next part of the indictment. Oops, let me do that. Who is Robert Peters? I don't know. Was he in the indictment? I might have missed that. Yeah, Fred. Today is a Friday. I know, but I had to do it today because I'm going away for the weekend, so I couldn't do it tomorrow. So I'm on today, and I announced this on Twitter. So 4 Big Macs in a row might take Trump down. Trump down. Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, so let me just do that. Make sure everybody can see it. There we go. On or about the 7th day of December 2020, Donald Trump committed the felony offense of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer in violation of Georgia statute. There it is right there. In Fulton County, Georgia, by unlawfully soliciting, requesting, and importuning, I don't know what the fuck that word is, Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives David Ralston, a public officer, to engage in conduct constituting a felony offense of violation of oath by a public officer. There's a Georgia statute right there. By calling a special session of Georgia. Wait. Excuse me. It is not illegal to call it for a special session of legislature. It just isn't. It's not illegal. I mean, you can call for a special session all you want. Doesn't mean that's all of a sudden not illegal. By calling a special session of the Georgia General Assembly for the purpose of unlawfully appointing presidential electors from Georgia in a willful and intentional violation of the terms of oath of said person as prescribed by law, with intent that said person engage in said conduct. It's an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. So, in other words, how dare you call for a special session? That's illegal. We can't do that, and as part of the prosecute, we're going to prosecute you for that. For it. I'm sorry. I mean, last time I checked, it's not illegal to ban the special session of any legislature around the country. I mean, governors do it all the time. All of a sudden, Donald Trump does it. It's illegal, and it's a conspiracy. We must prosecute him for it. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, Act 43. On or about the 8th day of December 2020, Donald Trump placed a telephone call to Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr. Okay, this is nonsense, but let me read this. For the purpose of making false statements concerning concerning fraud on November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia and elsewhere. During the telephone call, Donald Trump asked Carr not to discourage other state attorney generals from joining a federal lawsuit filed from the state of Texas, contesting the administration, contesting the attorney general from 2020. And what? I'm lost. Give me a second. Asked Carr not to discourage other state attorneys generals from joining a federal lawsuit filed by the state of Texas, contesting the admin- contesting the administration November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. This was an overt act and furthers from the conspiracy. This makes no sense. This is all legal. Everything I read in this part of the lawsuit is all legal. Asking for a special session in Georgia for the legislature is legal, and asking people to join a federal lawsuit in order to overturn the election is all legal. It's like, am I losing my mind here or something? Oh, let me respond to this. Is Angel eloping this weekend? No, I'm not getting married this weekend. I don't know if any woman put up with me long enough to get married. I am dating. I have a girlfriend I'm dating right now, but I'm not. There's no marriage as of now, as far as I know. So let's continue reading this lawsuit. It is nonsense, but we gotta continue doing it. Contested states. Seems like maybe Trump didn't think he lost, but challenging election results she noobs. Alright, so let's see that. On or about the 10th of December 2020, and I can barely see it. On or about the 10th day of December 2020, Kenneth John Cheeseborough, I think his name, sent a email to Nevada Republican Party Vice Chairman Jim DeGraff and Reed. Kenneth John Cheeseborough stated in the email that Rudolph Williams, Louis Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani, and other individuals associated with Trump campaign asked him to reach out to you and other Nevada electors to run point on the plan to have Trump-Pence electors in all 6 contested states and transmit their votes to Congress on Monday, December 14th. It's an overacting partisan conspiracy. Again, this happened in Nevada. This didn't happen in Georgia. This is a joke. This is a beyond a joke. I can't believe people take this shit seriously. Kenneth is a cheesy bro. Apparently so, because that's his name, Kenneth John Cheesebro. Cheesebro. Chess bro? Is it chess bro or cheese bro? It sounds like cheese bro. It really looks like to me. Act 96 of the indictment. It says, on or about the 27th day of December 2020, Randall Meadows, or Mark Meadows, chief of staff, sent a text message to office of the Georgia Secretary of State Chief Investigator Francis Watson that stated in part, is there a way to speed up Fulton County signature verification in order to have results before January 6th if the Trump campaign assists financially? This is an overactive furtherance of conspiracy. Again, this is all legal. Mark Meadows asked basically, is there a way to speed up the Fulton County signature verification if the Trump campaign were to assist financially? That's not illegal. I mean, in fact, that's perfectly legal. I don't know. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this indictment. Hello, Desert. How are you? Robert Peters is Biden's fake name using email hunter. I just read that. I just saw that today. That Biden needs a fake name in order to contact investors in order to make money. He must be. Hello, Lori. How are you? And greetings to you too. Can't vote your way out of this shit show. Nothing ever changes. Oh no, nothing. Dick ever changes. Nothing changes. No matter who's in charge, nothing always changes. This was the basis of the Trump election lawsuit. Let me just do that. Okay. So this is let me see. Act 157 on the indictment. On or about the 17th day of December 2021, Donald Trump committed the felony offense of false statements and writings in violation of Georgia statute, there it is right there in Fulton County, Georgia, by knowingly, willfully, and unlawfully making the following false statement in representation of Georgia State Secretary Brad Raffensperger. As stated to you previously, a number of false and or irregular votes was far greater than needed to change the Georgia election results. Said statement being within the jurisdiction of the Office of the Georgia Secretary of State and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, departments and agencies of state government, and county and city law enforcement agencies. This was an act of racketeering activity under Georgia statute and an overt act of furtherance of the conspiracy. Well, I'm sorry, that's nonsense because I I remember hearing that phone call with the Georgia Secretary of State, and Trump specifically said, I need to find 11,780 votes. I need to find, not you, not the Georgia Secretary of State. I need to find them. Like Trump needs to find those votes. In other words, like Oh well, I need to find those votes. I need so in other words, he wants a recount. He wants to find 11,780 votes in order to win the state of Georgia somehow. Even though he technically lost Georgia, but come on, let's be real about it. Trump, he said, I need to find those votes, not you need to find them. If he said, you need to find those votes, then that's questionable. But no, he said, I need to find those votes. Like, you need to recount until those votes are counted properly, especially what Trump's saying there. So, no, it's another part of the indictment, which is legal. He said, I need to find those votes, not you. So it's like, it's perfectly legal. So this indictment is beyond a joke at this point. It's like, I found nothing in this indictment that definitely proves that Donald Trump is guilty. So yeah, that's the most important part of the indictment. Okay, I'm good. My battery life is good for now, so yeah, the indictment's nonsense. Now let's go to let's get rid of that. No, that, that, that. Donald Trump will be booked at the Fulton County Jail, according to the sheriff. It's just a game to them, and they're laughing in your face. Here's DA Fanny or Fani, I don't know what her name is, Willis, acting completely oblivious to how the Trump indictment could be posted online before the grand jury even voted to indict. That's another scandal. The indictment was posted briefly online before when the grand jury was deliberating the charges. All right, here let me go to this first. Just in, Fulton County Clerk Shay Alexander, who leaked the charges against Donald Trump before the grand jury voted to indict, claims she accidentally clicked the send button to the save. In other words, they knew that Trump would be indicted, but still, I mean, she accidentally sent it. Come on, guys. Excuse me. That still doesn't explain how they knew exactly what the charges would be. I have no dogs in this fight. Alexander stated as she complained about all the stress and human. She also claimed that the post was just a dry run on the incoming indictment. So the Fulton County officials, in other words, knew about the indictment from the word jump. They knew that Donald Trump would be indicted, which is why she was already typing out the indictment and was supposed to save it before the indictment came down. But they still got it. So they knew that he was going to be indicted. That was the best word that I could come up with. It was fictitious. It wasn't real. It didn't have a stamp on it. Alexander said, or the county clerk. I tell my staff we want to be transparent. I don't have anything to hide. Oh yeah, of course not. So let's watch this 2 minute clip here from it's local news coverage. Angel lives in Trenton, New Jersey, he he is all for capital livingism. Come on, man. I'm anti capitalism. I hate capitalism. Yeah, I do too. I mean, right now I'm in between jobs right now. Oops. What's up, everybody? I hope everybody enjoying the stream so far. I mean, come on. I live in the capital of New Jersey, but still, I mean, it's shit here. And I walk, and all the politicians here they all wearing their goddamn masks like it's 2020, and it just drives me crazy. It's like, well, wear your fucking masks. I mean, it's 2023, and COVID is like the flu at this point. Come on, let's move on. So let's watch this local news segment on the leaking of that's an unfortunate screenshot of that man, but let's not talk about that too much. Oh, I know it's a play on words. I get it. I'm just saying. I'm not exact. I'm not pro capitalism, or I'm not anti. I mean, I get what you're saying. All right, so let's play this clip because apparently the district attorney or the county clerk's office in Fulton County, Georgia, leaked the indictment accidentally when the jury was still deliberating. But yeah, but it wasn't a setup. It was accidental. It was accidental. You know, we didn't even do this, guys. Even though we planned to indict Donald Trump from the word jump, but still, I mean, let's watch this.
And Linda, Shea Alexander says she was under a lot of pressure to make sure this process went smoothly. There were no hiccups. She says in trying to be perfect, she made a mistake, and instead of hitting save, she hit send.
I am human.
Fulton County Clerk of Court Shea Alexander said
The Fulton County clerk, the city clerk, or the county clerk, whatever. She's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm not perfect. I accidentally sent out the indictment before when the jury was deliberating, but I accidentally sent it out, guys. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it."
even though she's human, she strives for perfection.
And that's how the mishap happened.
The mishap was she inadvertently posted the indictment charges against former
She inadvertently sent out the indictment before it was official, before the indictment was sent to the judge. But yeah, I mean, it was an accident. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to post it beforehand. You know, I mean, I knew we all knew from the word jump that Trump was going to be indicted. But still, I mean, we didn't mean to do it. I'm so sorry. So please forgive me. Don't fire me. You know,
former President Donald Trump, even though the grand jury was still deliberating Monday. That set off a media firestorm and had Trump's attorneys saying prosecutors had no respect for the grand jury process. Alexander said this had nothing to do with the DA's office and there was nothing
no,
sinister about
no, of course not. Nothing to do with DA's office. I mean, Fonnie Williams or Willis is innocent. She had nothing to do with this, even though, but I'm sure that this woman is friends with her. But, oh, no, no, no. I mean, it was my mistake. It was my fault. Unbelievable.
the mistake she made.
I have no dog in the fight.
She says in an
Oh,
effort to
no, no. Even though she's a Democrat, she has no dog in the fight. She's a Democrat. I mean, this county clerk is not a Republican. Fulton County, Georgia, voted 75% for President Trump. I mean, Biden, but yeah, it has nothing to do with no dog in the fight. I don't care whether Trump is indicted or not. Bullshit. You believe that she doesn't care? It's bullshit. I mean, you're naive.
handle the indictment perfectly, she messed up.
I did a work sample in the system, and when I hit save, it went to the press queue.
Some news reporters saw it before.
Oops. No, I wrote out a draft of the indictment, and even though I should have known, but somehow I knew, and I accidentally sent it to the press corps in Georgia. Oops, I didn't even do that. I'm so sorry. Even no, it wasn't planned. We didn't set this up, and I didn't know Trump was indicted from the word jump. That's basically what she's saying there. I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
Or it was deleted. Alexander says what they saw was unofficial.
It wasn't an official document. It wasn't official charges. It was the dry run. It was a work sample.
Even though it had a case number, Alexander says it
Oops. It was a drive run. I didn't mean to do it, guys. I didn't mean to. It was just a drive run. It was me. It wasn't the DA. It wasn't her fault. It was me. Even though I had a case number which matched exactly the case number of the grand jury indictment. But still, I mean, come on. It wasn't me. It was me. It wasn't the DA's fault. I made the mistake.
didn't have a stamp and other markings that would have made it official. I asked her why did she release a statement calling the document fictitious.
That was the best word I could come up.
Oh yeah. She also released a statement saying the document was fake. Even though she did send the document. She wrote the document out, but somehow it was faked. So, oh yeah, it was fake. It wasn't me. Now she admits it was her. So it's bullshit. So it was an accident. Excuse me. She wrote out. She wrote out the indictment before it was official. It's like, oh yeah, let me write out this document. Oh shit! It turns out. Oh shit! I made a mistake. Oh my god! I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It's fake. It's fake. Oh no, it's not fake. I made a mistake. So sorry.
come up with. It was fictitious. It wasn't real. It
As far as I know, she still has her job. This is a local report from Georgia. There's no indication she's been fired or she's been removed from office.
didn't have a stamp on it.
Why didn't you just say it was an error? She says fictitious.
Yeah, why not say it was a mistake? It's like, hey, I fucked up. I didn't even do it. It's a mistake. I did it. Not what that was fake. As far as I know, she still has her job. I mean, I can't get enough of these people. It's such a joke.
This was what her team came up with.
We've been getting some calls.
Her office has received calls and emails with threats. People saying, I'm coming to get you.
Now she's gonna pretend she's a victim by saying that, oh, well, I've been threatened. I've been threatened. I'm a black woman, in Fulton County, Georgia, so I've been threatened by Trump supporters. So by definition, I mean, I've been threatened. So by definition, I'm a victim, even though I accidentally sent out the indictment before it's official. Unbelievable. And she's the victim, though. Watch.
Those threats have been forwarded to the sheriff's office. Alexander says she was under a lot of pressure to get this right.
Oh, she's under a lot of pressure. What do you expect, guys? I mean, under a lot of pressure. She's the county clerk of Fulton County, Georgia, but still, I mean, under a lot of pressure. And she was threatened too by Trump supporters allegedly. So, yeah, I mean, come on, give her a pass. In the chat, can you give her a pass, please? Let's continue.
Now she says she just wants to explain what happened and get back to work.
I tell my staff we just want to be transparent, right? And so I don't have anything to hide.
And Alexander says her mistake had no impact on the grand jury's decision. I asked her.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. Her decision to release the indictment early, accidentally, had nothing to do with a grand jury decision. To pressure them in order to indict Donald Trump and all his alleged co-conspirators. No, nothing to do with it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it, guys. Please forgive me. That-
How did she get her hands on those charges? She says she has access to that information.
That's a good question. How did she get her hands on the charges before the indictment came down? Well, I have access to that, guys. I have access, even though she's a county clerk and she shouldn't have access to those potential charges, but she had access somehow. Unbelievable.
As clerk, of course, she says her office is taking those threats very seriously. We're live.
Oh yeah, of course. She takes the threats very seriously because I mean she fucked up and now people pointing out she fucked up. So now she's being threatened, and I mean, and as a black woman, she's in danger. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, well, she fucked up. So now we're gonna get to DA's response. I'm gonna get to her response. Where is it? No, I saved. I swear I saved this video. Where is it? I'm gonna get to all this in a second. Did I? I know I saved that video. Oh, okay, here it is. This is the one I wanted to play. Oops. All right, let's get a load of the chat here. Yeah, I mean it is a load of horseshit. I mean it's like Fulton County, Georgia voted for Biden 75% for President Biden in the last election. 75%. So and somehow they expect us to believe that Fulton County, Georgia will give us a fair trial, or will give Trump a fair trial in his alleged co-conspirators. Somehow they're arguing a fair trial in Fulton County, Georgia, even though they voted for Biden at 75%. And the Fulton County DA and the Fulton County Sheriff wants to run their mouths the whole time about how they're going to arrest Trump and how he's going to be processed through the Fulton County jail and all this shit. No, I'm sorry. This is not going to be a fair trial. I don't care what people say about, the Democrat liberals, like, these are real charges. Bullshit. It's not real charges. It's nonsense. And on top of that, And on top of that, the idea that excuse me, the idea that this is going to be fair, this is going to be a fair trial is ridiculous. Which is why, this all everybody, all the alleged co-conspirators should file a motion to move this case to federal court in Atlanta. Because it's a federal courthouse in Atlanta. So let's go there, and let's open up the jury pool to the entire state instead of just Fulton County. Because Fulton County is full of Democrats. Because obviously they're going to convict these co-conspirators no matter what. So now we're going to see the DA's response to the question of why the county clerk accidentally released the indictment before it happened. So let's watch it.
It
Let's listen to her nonsense. How she doesn't take responsibility for this at all. She blames the county clerk's office here. Let's watch.
According to the Fulton County Clerk's Office that was circulated online with charges against former President Donald Trump. That fictitious document matched exactly the charges that we now see in this indictment. Can you tell us more about that document leak? Because now you have the former president's lawyers who are saying that this is emblematic of a serious problem with your office.
It is a serious problem with her office. It is. And before she answers, it's like, really? I mean, the county clerk accidentally released the exact charges that the grand jury in Fulton County released. Ultimately, made it official, and somehow it's like, I don't know. I mean, it was an accident. It was a dry run. I didn't mean the DA nothing to do with it, even though the charges that the county clerk released, the exact same charges that the grand jury released. But somehow, it was an accident. We didn't, and she had, and the DA doesn't take watch. She doesn't take responsibility for this. Watch. She blames the county clerk's office.
No, I can't tell you anything about what you refer to. What I can tell you is that we had a grand jury here in Fulton County. They deliberated till almost 8 o'clock, if not right after 8 o'clock. An indictment was returned. It was true billed, and you now have an indictment. I am not an expert on clerk's duty.
See, she throws the county clerks under the bus. The county clerk. Oh, I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm not an expert at what the county clerk does. That's up to her. I have nothing to do with that. Even though she's a Democrat, and the DA is Democrat too. We don't talk. Nothing to do with that. That was not me. That was her. Blame her for that shit.
Or even administrative
Even though it's the exact charges, that also were filed against Donald Trump and his alleged co-conspirators.
duties. I wouldn't know how to work that system, and so I'm not going to speculate.
I wouldn't know how to work that system, even though she's the DA of the county. But I don't know how to work that system, guys. I'm so sorry. That's her. Ask the county clerk. Oops.
Next question.
Have you had
Next question, motherfucker. Next question. I mean, I don't know anything about that.
any contact with the special counsel about overlap between these cases?
Lie. So you get the point. She's lying. They're all lying. It's like, I didn't. I mean, I don't know anything about that. It's on the county clerk's office. Go over there. Go talk to her. She made the mistake. Even though we're all Democrats here in Fulton County and we're all friends, but that's on her. Don't blame me. I'm the DA. I don't know how that works. Ridiculous. And somehow this is supposed to be a legitimate prosecution according to liberals. My ass, my Puerto Rican ass is supposed to be legitimate. Excuse me. Sorry. Biden regime panics as Fox News blows up their timeline of Hunter Biden's criminal investigation and Trump indictments massive floor to ceiling screen. Alright, so let's
New York
use Fox News to making a good point here. So let's watch.
this week, and on the same day that another big story was breaking about the Hunter Biden probe, raising quite a few eyebrows about the timing of all.
Alright, this is the key. Whenever there's a breaking news on Hunter Biden's stuff, his criminal activity, all of a sudden there's either a new indictment or there's some kind of scandal with Trump that it breaks. So excuse me. So this isn't a coincidence. So let's watch.
All of this. So let's break down the timeline of Trump's indictments versus the key developments in the Hunter saga. So let's start in New York City this March. Look at this: Biden family and the laptop revelations versus Trump's indictments. So this is the first indictment. March 16th, the House Oversight Committee reveals that Biden family payments from this Chinese energy company. Well, look at this. 2 days later, Trump says he's going to be indicted in New York. He wrote that on social media. Then April 4th, the man.
What a coincidence! March 16th is breaking news about how Hunter Biden released a bunch of, or received a bunch of payments from a Chinese energy company. A couple of days later, March 18th, all of a sudden, Trump gets indicted in New York. Keep going.
Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg indicts Trump in that hush money case. This is right after we find out about all this money from the energy company. Okay, so that is New York City. Let's go to Florida. This is in June. The bribery allegation.
June 7th, the bribery allegation. The FBI releases documents alleging that the Bidens took
And the
$10 million bribe of Burisma.
plea deals versus Trump's second
Now, in June 8th, Jack Smith indicts Trump in Mar-a-Lago documents case.
indictment.
So the next day after the Burisma scandal breaks, Jack Smith indicts Trump on the documents case in Mar-a-Lago. What a coincidence, right? It must be a coincidence, right, guys?
So these are the classified documents, Mar-a-Lago stuff. So on June 7th, the FBI releases the documents alleging that the Bidens took the $10 million bribe from Burisma. The owner of Burisma caught in the coffee shop saying $5 million for one Biden, $5 million for another. Then the very next day, look at this, Jack Smith indicts Trump in the Mar-a-Lago document.
June 7th, it clearly says FBI releases documents alleging the Bidens took $10 million bribe from Burisma. The very next day, Jack Smith indicts Trump in Mar-a-Lago's documents case. That can't be a coincidence. I don't care what people say. I don't care what the liberals say in the media. That's not a coincidence.
Document case. Then on July 26th, that's the Hunter Biden sweetheart deal that's rejected. The very next day,
Hunter Biden's sweetheart deal rejected by the judge, July 26th. The next day, Jack Smith adds more charges in Mar-a-Lago case. Again, this is not a coincidence. I mean, you can see it right there. The very next day after Hunter Biden's case, his sweetheart deal was rejected by the judge in his case. The very next day, Jack Smith, July 27th, Jack Smith adds more charges to Mar-a-Lago.
July 27th, Jack Smith adds more charges in the Mar-a-Lago case. Let's slap some more charges to that. All right, so then in July, let's go.
All right, let's go to this. Devin Archer interview versus Trump third indictment. This is important.
To D.C. Devin Archer interview versus Trump's third indictment. So this was the January 6th stuff. July 31st, Devin Archer testifies that Joe Biden was.
All right. July 31st, Archer testifies that Joe Biden was on 20-plus calls with son's business partners. July 31st.
On 20-plus phone calls with his son's business partners. The very next day,
August 1st, the very next day, Jack Smith indicts Trump for January 6th case. The very next day. This isn't like it's like a week later or 3 weeks later. No. The very next day. Coincidence. Again, it must be a coincidence, right?
Smith indicts Trump for the January 6th case. Coincidence? We don't know. You decide. All right, now let's.
We don't know. You decide. Yes, it's not a coincidence. Just be honest about it. It's obvious what's going on.
Let's go to Georgia. This happened recently.
This is the Georgia case. FBI agent transcript versus Trump fourth indictment. Again, this is the most recent indictment.
Few days, FBI agent transcript versus Trump's.
August 14th, GOP releases transcript from FBI agent involved in Hunter Biden's investigation.
Fourth indictment.
So let's watch.
So in the morning on August 14th, GOP releases the transcripts from this FBI agent involved in the Hunter Biden investigation. And it happens to coincide with what the whistleblower was saying, that someone tipped off, the Secret Service tipped off Hunter Biden. He was never interviewed. So their stories are very similar. So then on August 14th, that same day, later in
August 14th, that night,
the afternoon,
Fulton County DA Fani Williams charges Trump and 18 others in Georgia's 2020 election probe. That after the release of the GOP releases transcript from FBI agent involved in Hunter Biden investigation. That night, so it was 3 days ago, that Fulton County DA Fani Williams charges Trump and 18 others in Georgia's 2020 election probe. What a coincidence! Again, it's always these indictments always come right after allegation of Hunter Biden's probes. But somehow, this is all coincidence. It has to be coincidence, guys. It's unbelievable. These people are so they're so transparent at this point.
That night and that evening, Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis charges Trump and 18 others in the Georgia 2020 election probe.
Oops.
You have the facts. You make.
You decide. So we report, you decide. Classic Fox News there. But yeah, I mean, this is not a coincidence. All of this is not a coincidence. Whenever something comes out about Joe Biden or Hunter Biden, all of a sudden Trump gets indicted again on new charges, or they add new charges to some other shit. And this is not a once it's a coincidence. 4 times it's not a coincidence. At this point, you know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, then you're a partisan hack Democrat nobody should take seriously. All right, so that's that. I think I'm making my case pretty well here. So, okay. This is the Trump campaign courtroom calendar. Again, there's no coincidences here. January 21st, 2023. Donald Trump news conference on Georgia charges. August 23rd, 2023. First GOP debate. The next hearing. This is, they scheduled these hearings on purpose in order for Trump not to be a part of anything. I'm not sure I understand. Shut up. I don't. Fucking Siri? Fuck you. It's like randomly just popping up here. Siri trying to tell me to shut the fuck up here. Well, I won't shut the fuck up because it's bullshit. Look at this. They purposely scheduled hearings and they purposely scheduled on the trials in order for Trump not to be involved in any part of the election day here. Oops. Wait a minute. It's like Siri's fucking with me here. I mean, randomly, my Apple Watch here, it's like, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. Oh no, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Fucking bitch. All right. Yeah, that's not that important. So we got an update here. Oops. Breaking: Georgia Republican Georgia State Senator Colton Moore moves to impeach Georgia District Attorney Fonnie Willis for her actions against Trump. Finally, Republican with the backbone. I'm not going to sit back and watch the radical left prosecutors weaponize their elected offices to politically target their opponents, Moore said. As a Georgia State Senator, I'm officially calling for emergency session to review the actions of Fonnie Willis. So he sends this letter to the governor, Brian Kemp, and he also CCs Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. So let's read. Dear Governor Kemp, we the undersigned, being duly elected members of the Georgia House of Representatives and Georgia Senate, comprising 3/5 of each respective House, pursuant to Article 4, Section 2, Paragraph 7, hereby certify to you in writing with a copy of the Secretary of State that in our opinion an emergency exists in the affairs of the state, requiring a special session to be convened under that section for all purposes to include without limitation the review and response to the action of Fonnie Willis. Sincerely, Colton Moore, State Senator, Georgia 53 District. So in other words, yeah, the Republicans are saying, no, fuck this, in Georgia. It's time for you to do something about these Democrats. So, let's see. I did that. Okay. Alright, let's see. Let's start with this one. Oops. So, Angel for President. Thank you, I appreciate it, but I don't want that fucking job. You're gonna hurt that phone's AI feelings. Yeah, I mean, it just there are times where it randomly pops up for no reason. So it randomly pops up for no reason, and I have to turn it off, turn it back on, or to get it to shut up. This Siri can't get enough of me. I mean, it starts talking randomly for no reason. So let's move on to this. This is this is going to be an MSNBC segment. It's going to be very fawning towards Fonnie William or Willis, the Fulton County DA, and for the Fulton County DA and the Fulton County office in general. It's going to be fawning towards them. So I want to react and respond to this segment. So let's see. So let's watch this and then I'll respond.
Pretty much the prosecutor at the heart of this case became one of the most well-known lawyers in the country.
Oh yeah, I mean the prosecutor, the DA in Fulton County is one of the most known prosecutors in the country. All of a sudden, oh yeah, of course. I mean, what do you expect? She's prosecuting Trump, and MSNBC has to promote her, right? I mean, come on.
Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis took office in 2021, just days before the first reporting from the Washington Post about Trump's January.
What a coincidence! She took office days after January 6th, and all of a sudden now she has to investigate Donald Trump. Coincidence, absolute coincidence. Again,
Called Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, pressing him to find votes.
We do know Willis has served 19 years.
true. Trump never pressed Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find votes. It's not true. What he said was, "I need to find 11,000 votes." He never said that Raffensperger needs to find those votes. He said, "I need to find those votes." So that's false.
Years as a prosecutor, and her office says their conviction rate hovers around 90%. Joining us now, Wall Street Journal reporter.
All right, that's false again, and it's not false, but when a prosecutor has a conviction rate 90%, what they don't tell you is, "Oh yeah, by the way, I plead out most of my cases." So that means when I plead out the cases, that means that counts as a conviction. That's a conviction for me because I pleaded out, and the defendant happened to plead guilty. So that's a conviction for me. That means my conviction rate is so high. That's how that works, by the way. That's a dirty little secret that prosecutors will tell you because ultimately, they plead guilty. So the defendant pleads guilty. That's that happens to be a conviction for the prosecutor. So that's why her conviction rate is so high. Not because she actually got a jury, convinced the jury to find the defendant guilty. She didn't. Most of the time, that's not what prosecutors do. They plead out the case. So, oh yeah, I have a 90% conviction rate. Oh, by the way, I played out most of my cases though. So it's not that impressive if you look at it.
Cameron McWhirter, who has written extensively about Willis, interviewed her last month. Cameron.
Now we're getting a Wall Street Journal reporter kissing her ass a million times over. So let's watch this. Watch this reporter from Wall Street Journal kiss her ass. Oops.
Thank you for taking the time. DA Willis has not been doing a whole lot of interviews lately, but you talked to her in July. What impression did you take away?
She is out to win. That's the main thing I got, is that she's a workaholic.
Hold on. It's very important here. Get a load of what he says here. The first thing he says about her. It isn't even about, get a load of what he says here. The very first thing. The very first thing he says. It's very important. Watch.
She is out to win.
She's out to win. She's out to win. In other words, it doesn't matter whether Trump is guilty or not. She's out to win. That's all she cares about. She doesn't give two shits about whether Trump is guilty or innocent. She's out to win.
That's the main thing I got, is that she's a workaholic. Admittedly so.
The Wall Street Journal reporter here is going to fawn over Fannie Williams or Fannie Williams. Oops.
And she is hyper obsessed with preparation. So she walked, this investigation took 2.5 years. And she walked into, she's presented.
The investigation took 2.5 years, and what a coincidence that she indicts the day after the Hunter Biden case kind of, there's important information that broke. What a coincidence that she indicted the same night the Hunter Biden, part of Hunter Biden's case broke. But somehow, it's like coincidence. It just happened to be a coincidence. Unbelievable.
Presented almost 100-page indictment, very sprawling, very broad, involving a lot of people, a lot of actors, 19 people indicted, including former President Trump. But she has definitely done her homework, and her staff has done their homework. So,
oh yeah, of course, they've done their homework. Even though most of the indictment nothing but tweets of Donald Trump and other people, but somehow they've done their homework, guys. And I mean, yeah, the indictment, the indictment's nonsense. But somehow she did her homework. She did a great job. Why? Because they want to take down Donald Trump. That's what it's all about. It's not about convicting him, going to jail. No. It's about making sure he doesn't become president.
it's going to be, the battle's on here.
Yeah, and I mean, Cameron, we were mentioning that 90% her conviction.
By the way, that reporter on the left here is Jose Diaz Balart, who's a Telemundo reporter, and I know him because he happens to report for Telemundo, and my mother watches him regularly. That's why I know his name.
Conviction rate is 90%. It's high. I mean, a lot of DAs shoot towards that, don't often get that. What are some of the...
That's bullshit. Prosecutors get that high all the time. The dirty little secret is they plead out a lot of cases. Is that okay? We'll plead you will plead you to this charge, this lesser charge. You plead guilty to it, and you won't serve any real time. So so you don't go to jail. And on top of that, I get my conviction rate higher because you plead guilty. That's how that works. It's a game, and somehow this guy doesn't know that game. Instead, he acts like, "Well, I mean, her conviction rate is really high, so by definition, that must mean that she has evidence, right?" Ridiculous.
cases that she has been so successful in carrying out?
Well, she was well known for homicides. She would handle murder cases, and she had a very, very high conviction rate there.
No. Salvador Gigante, Don Francisco retired as of 2014, 2015, 2012. He retired like 10 years ago from that show. So no, it's still not on here in the United States at least. It's still on in his home country of Chile. It's still on there because his daughter took over that show years ago. But here in the U.S., he retired 10 years ago from that officially. So it's interesting that you brought that up, Carlos. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love that show. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to watch that show every Saturday night. I loved that show. Loved it so much. So let's keep going with this.
But she's most well known for the Atlanta cheating scandal. She was a lead prosecutor on that.
Oh, let's get a load of this. I remember this case. This is about this is what Fannie Willis is famous for. The Atlanta teaching scandal, where apparently allegedly teachers would fake test scores in order to get more funding for their schools, and apparently that was bad because they faked test scores, even though that's not teachers' fault because that was the George W. Bush administration who insisted on having test scores connected to funding. The less the worse the kids would do in testing, less funding the school would get. So what do you expect teachers to do? In that case, you would fake results. You have to, in order to get the funding you would get currently. And what would Fannie Willis did? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm going to prosecute these teachers because they fake test scores in order to get more money for their schools. That's what she's known for. That's what she's famous for, and somehow this is a good thing, according to the Wall Street Journal. It's like, oh yeah, I prosecuted a bunch of teachers. I made them good, right? They fake, they ripped off the taxpayers a lot of money. No, I mean, when I was in school, that should never happen. It's outrageous that this somehow is a good thing, according to MSNBC and the Wall Street Journal. It's like, oh yeah, she prosecuted a bunch of teachers. Fuck them. You're pieces of shit for faking test scores. Even though in order to get more funding, you need extra test scores. It's not their fault. It's the goddamn federal government's fault for putting in that no child left behind laws, which put in standardized testing, which is nonsense. Unbelievable. Just watch.
That case, which was a RICO case, and if that was that was a
Took office in January 2021. Fulton County's first female district attorney. Law degree from Emory Law School. 19 years of prosecutorial experience. Yeah, fuck her. She's a cop. It's like Kamala Harris. Fuck him. Used Georgia's RICO law to prosecute Atlanta public school teachers. How? I mean, she uses the RICO laws for no reason. She uses them for no goddamn reason, and then they act like she's a good person. It's like it's just beyond just outrageous and pathetic. And somehow I'm supposed to be impressed with this woman because she's black. It's just beyond frustrating.
very, very big scandal in which teachers and administrators in Atlanta were charged with conspiring to inflate, to change test scores to make the school system look better.
Yeah, I'm sure they did because they need more money in order to teach these students properly, to buy books and to buy magazines and not magazines, but to buy books and to buy supplies in order to properly teach these kids in Fulton County, Georgia, who are struggling right now, in order to get them to get them up to speed. And you're telling me that's a crime? That's a goddamn crime, according to a black woman, Fannie Willis. That's a crime. That's not a crime to me. It's like that's not her. That's not the teacher's fault. That's the Bush administration's fault for putting in this no child left behind laws, which basically says, oh yeah, by the way, I mean you have to you have to you have to do these stupid standardized testing, which sucks, which you have to teach the test. Disgusting.
And she got a lot of heat for that case because, and it was a very important.
Damn right she got heat for that case because she had no reason to bring that case. She shouldn't have brought that case. I just dropped something. Doesn't matter. But she had no reason to bring that case. But of course she did because she's a prosecutor. She's a cop ultimately. She had no reason to bring that case. Leave it alone. Let the school district get that money in order to teach the Fulton County kids properly. But no, she had to bring that case because it's all about her and all about her conviction rate. What a fucking bitch.
Very high profile case in Atlanta. And she took the heat and got 11 convictions out of 12 people who were ultimately tried. And they used RICO. And this case last night involves very different actors, but it's basically the same battle plan.
So you write that Willis once described herself as one of the best murder prosecutors in the country. You say,
I love that. Her ego's out of control. Oh yeah, I'm one of the best murder prosecutors in the country. I have no evidence for that, but yeah, I'm one of the best murder prosecutors in the country.
some of her coworkers have told you she's a stickler for prep, routinely puts in 12-hour days. And you touched on all of this. What are you hearing from fellow prosecutors about her reputation, as well as I wonder how she's handling the ongoing attacks from Donald Trump, who continues to claim that she's making this all about politics?
She's very aware of that criticism.
It is all about politics. It's painfully obvious at this point. It's all about politics. It's like, yeah, I mean, I have. She really has no evidence for any of this. I read the important parts of the indictment. She has nothing, but she turns around like, oh well, this is the we got to get Trump, right? Let's see. So did Trump commit murder? No, I mean, as far as I know, no.
and has really, but again, I'd go back to the Atlanta cheating scandal. I mean, that was a very important case here in Atlanta in which every time she went to the grocery store, people were cornering her, and many people were extremely angry at her.
Yeah, and you wonder why they were angry at her. She's going after teachers in that case, like teachers that that she teachers that taught that taught their students, and somehow no shit they were going after her. Why? I can't believe that's a good thing according to these people.
For that prosecution, and she's stuck to her guns. She doesn't get ruffled by this sort of thing, and she certainly has been dealing with criticisms from former President Trump for 2.5 years, and she's ready for it. She's not going to
Oh yeah, just more fawning about Fani Willis, how she's kind of hero because she's going after Trump.
shrink away. Now, of course, Trump and his supporters who have been indicted, they all have really good defense attorneys, and those defense
Yes, they do, and they should get the hell out of Fulton County as soon as possible.
attorneys are already digging in
Fani foo foo. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
into this indictment. But she's here to win, and it's going to be. She doesn't walk away from she's here to win.
Oh yeah, she's here to win. Doesn't matter whether Trump and his alleged co-conspirators are guilty or innocent. Doesn't matter. She's here to win.
Consistently hear that from you, from others who've been covering her, journalists, as well as other legal analysts that we've had on our air who know her personally about her laser focus on finding justice.
Yeah, I mean, she has laser focus. She wants to win. She doesn't give a shit whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. She just cares about winning. She cares about winning. Remember that.
Justice, doing her job. Cameron McWhirter, I really appreciate your time.
MSNBC, they have to, win. That's what they care about. So now apparently, Trump supporters are threatening the judge in the federal case which Jack Smith filed, and that's a horrible thing that even they're threatening the judge in that case, even though liberals threaten the Supreme Court justices that overturned Roe versus Wade. But that was okay, threatening the SCOTUS justice. But a federal judge in Washington, that's not okay to threaten her because she's actually going after Trump. So let's watch MSNBC again. So let's watch this, and I'm gonna go. Let's watch this, and I'll give my opinion on it afterwards.
It should surprise no one that Donald Trump has gone on the attack against the prosecutors and judges who are trying to hold him accountable. This has always been his standard practice. For many, including nearly the entire Republican organization, this behavior has become normalized, imitated, and even praised. Although for anyone not named Trump, you can bet that there will be consequences, fines, or possible jail time. Look, I'm old enough to remember way back to 3 days ago when the judge overseeing the federal trial into Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election ended her first hearing with this warning to both parties. Quote, "The more a party makes inflammatory statements about this case, the greater the urgency will be that we proceed to trial quickly." Judge Chanya Chutkan added, "I caution all of you and your client, therefore, to take special care in your public statements about this case. I will."
It's great to hear you say the same things that are said on our channel 24 hours a day. Alright, so let's continue with this. MSNBC is now defending the judge. in the other case against Trump, in the federal case that Jack Smith filed, they're gonna do a funny segment about her. I probably won't play this whole thing because I'm sick of MSNBC, but let's go back.
Fines or possible jail time. Look, I'm old enough to remember way back to 3 days ago when the judge overseeing the federal trial into Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election ended her first hearing with this warning to both parties. Quote, the more a party makes inflammatory statements about this case, the greater the urgency will be that we proceed to trial quickly. Judge Chanya Chutkan added, I caution all of you and your client, therefore, to take special care in your public statements about this case. I will take whatever measures are necessary to safeguard the integrity of these proceedings. Look, Judge Chutkan invoked the well-known legal precedent of keep my name out your mouth. But of course, it didn't work because Trump was on the attack in less than 48 hours. Yesterday, he reposted a photo of the judge that was referred to her as an Obama left-wing activist judge and falsely claimed that she openly admitted she's running election interference against Trump. Not leaving well enough alone. At 1:14 this morning, Trump also posted that she was, quote, very biased and unfair, and that she obviously wanted him behind bars. Back with me is Joyce Vance, and joining me is Renato Mariotti, former federal prosecutor and legal affairs columnist for Politico magazine. Look, I will start with this because this galls me. Renato, you have a former president of the United States who is actively, we're beyond poking the bear, right? This is not Yogi and picnic baskets. He's clubbing the bear over the head by constantly attacking the judge who is actually overseeing a case about him trying to violently overthrow the country. I'm going to ask the question that I get asked by regular people all the time. Why isn't he in jail already? Why has he not already been thrown in jail for making these kinds of statements? He has a history of witness and judge intimidation, at least verbally.
Well, I actually think in this case, it's because Judge Chutkan is actually very smart. Savvy, experienced litigator.
Well, about that, I disconnected myself. So.
And she knows exactly what levers to pull to hold his feet to the fire. I mean, you read that quote a moment ago, and I think that speaks volumes.
I should be fine now, so let's see.
What she's saying is, I'm not going to get involved in some First Amendment argument with you in the middle of a presidential campaign where you're going to have some argument that somehow I'm silencing your free speech right. What we're going to do to solve this problem is we're just going to get to trial ASAP. And I think one thing we know is that Donald Trump's entire plan is to try to delay this past the election. And she was basically letting him know and putting a shot across the bow, I have the power here. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to have a very, very speedy trial, if you want time to prepare, if you want extra time and extra accommodations, you're not going to have any nonsense. I actually thought that was a brilliant move on her part.
Yeah,
and that's the sort of thing, in my opinion.
Let me just keep kissing the ass of judges and prosecutors and stuff.
That is what's going to ultimately move the lever. And because I think Donald Trump listens to actions and power, not words.
Joyce, so basically what we're hearing is Judge Chutkan, she did the reverse of what parents do, right? It's like, if you're not quiet, I will turn this car around. She basically said,
I love the condescension here from MSNBC. Yeah, she does the opposite of what a parent does here. You know what I mean? Like he's, she's she's just a parent, parenting Donald Trump, even though she's former president of the United States. It's just ridiculous.
I will drive there faster if you guys keep talking. So here's the thing. What would that actually look like? What is a speedy trial? I mean, because at this particular point, I mean, it's been 2 years since the attack. How could she actually move this forward? Would she have the power to say, Trump's legal team doesn't have as much time to do research? Could she say, I'm not going to let as many witnesses? What would speeding it up actually look like if Trump continues to violate the protective order?
Mm-hmm.
So her obligation is to guarantee Trump's lawyers and the former president have adequate time to prepare for trial, that his due process rights are observed. But that's not a set number of days, like the 70 days called for in the Speedy Trial Act. There's a lot of judicial discretion involved. For instance, instead of accommodating requests for week-long vacations ahead of trial or time to attend family gatherings, she might say, sorry, we're out. We can't take those sorts of detours because we need to go ahead and get a jury struck and in the box before your client.
Yeah, I mean, don't take vacations, don't do anything. How dare you? Just, we have to go to trial as quickly as possible because we have to take out Trump. We can't let him become president again.
Client can taint the jury pool anymore, and she could insist on a fairly straight line schedule going forward. To Renato's point, she is an experienced and very smart jurist, and she will not permit herself to become agitated because Donald Trump notoriously likes to try to poke the tiger. I guess we say it a little bit differently in my house. It's a tiger, not a bear. But either way, federal judges are skilled in avoiding that provocation. We saw her do it with Judge Curiel, poking, fun at his Mexican heritage. She did it with Judge Tiger, one of the judges in California who was involved in the immigration litigation. What we've seen from the federal judiciary is great restraint, great professionalism, and an understanding.
Yeah, great restraint, great professionalism. Let me kiss their ass even more.
That this is not some sort of a fight between them and Donald Trump. This is about delivering the people's justice. I think we'll see her call him back into the courtroom. She may admonish him. It will be professional. It will not be personal.
It will be professional. Even though I'm going to admonish Donald Trump and I'm going to tell him how full of shit he is. But yeah, it'll be professional. It'll be professional, guys. I mean, the judge would never dare be unprofessional to Donald Trump. Oops. Come on.
Judges believe in progressive discipline if we're talking about her.
Progressive discipline? What does that mean? What does that mean?
And the way one might interact with a small child. And she will be very explicit with him before she goes to the next level of disciplining him in order to ensure that everyone involved can.
It's just a fawning segment over this judge, Tanya Chutkan. I mean, it's just fawning.
Get a fair trial. That means the people, you and me, as much as it does the defendant in this case.
Renato, we're going to move to another judge right now. The judge overseeing Trump's hush money case has just come out and said, look, I'm not going to recuse myself. Judge Juan Merchan has said, there were.
Even though he should recuse himself because it turns out that his daughter was involved with the Joe Biden campaign. Literally, she worked for a law firm that worked for the Biden campaign. But somehow, he's not going to recuse himself, even though he should, even though his daughter worked for the Biden campaign, technically. How, no, I'm not going to recuse myself, even though my daughter worked for the opposite campaign of the former president. Unbelievable. These people have some nerve.
Were accusations from Trump's team. They had argued that the judge's daughter had political and financial interest because at one point
they argued she does have connections to the Biden campaign, direct connection. She worked for the law firm that worked for the Biden campaign in New York. And somehow, I mean, that's my daughter. It doesn't do with me. Bullshit. That's your daughter. I mean, you need to drop out. You need to recuse yourself.
At one point, she worked for a firm that worked for Joe Biden, and he said, yeah, too bad.
No. I mean, she worked for the law firm that worked for the Biden campaign. This judge needs to recuse himself in New York. Of course, he didn't, and that'll lead to some legal issues down the road. But
that's my daughter. I'm still going to work on this case. I've got to ask you. I can play devil's advocate here. I mean, is there a potential problem here? Is this something that Trump's team could argue again? Because frankly, if there were a judge investigating Joe Biden, if there were a judge investigating a prominent Democrat, and they had a son or daughter or a spouse that had worked for the campaign of. If there were a judge investigating Joe Biden, if there were a judge investigating a prominent Democrat, and they had a son or daughter or.
Did you see that? It's a woman that.
Biden if there were a judge investigating a prominent Democrat.
There she is. You got one right there. What is that? I mean, very unprofessional. Oh yeah, let me just walk past this dude, even though he's on camera.
And they had a son or
You see it right there. Who is that? Who is that right there?
daughter or a spouse that had worked for the campaign of the opposition. I think that's a reasonable question, isn't it?
Look, it's certainly something that should be raised, and we should consider, let's say, the appearance issues. But I will just say a couple of things here. First of all, this would not be the child working directly for, in this case, Joe Biden. It's her law firm, right? Working for Biden. But look, ultimately,
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, come on. The judge is against President Trump, so he must be good, right?
at the end of the day, judges make decisions regarding whether they recuse or not. And typically, courts are very deferential when, let's say, a court of appeal is looking at the issue of whether or not a judge is obligated to recuse. They very much defer to that judge's judgment. And that's what I expect to be the case.
That's the problem with judges. Legally, it's up to the judge whether he or she recuses him or herself or not. And that's the problem. You know, there needs to be more regulations on judges like this because they don't have to recuse themselves legally, but they should, especially when the judge's daughter happened to have worked for Joe Biden's presidential campaign.
Case here. And so, I think Donald Trump is going up against the judiciary that ultimately, I agree with Joyce's sentiment here. The judiciary is not only professional, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the judiciary wants to move cases along themselves because they have a lot of defendants who need justice. And, a lot of criminal defendants don't like their judge. So the rules are set up to make it very difficult for criminal defendants to get rid of the judge and the second guess the judge's decision regarding whether to recuse. And I expect that to be the case here as well.
Thank you, Joyce Vance. Aunt Renato Moriarty, thank
you. Yeah. So MSNBC does multiple fawning segments of Joe Biden and for Joe Biden for the Democrats and for all the judges and all the people that are involved in trying to get Trump into prison. Come on, man, where is this fucking thing? Yes. What does Kyle Kalinske say about all this? Give me a minute. I'll get to him, but I'm looking for poll. Why is this not fucking? I saved this for a reason. Oh my god, man. Ridiculous.
Whether reality.
Whoa. Where the fuck is that poll? What the hell with this? The hell with this. I don't have time for this shit. Where is that fucking poll? The hell? Yeah, it must be. I must have missed it. But it doesn't matter. So this is Kyle Kalinski's reaction. This happened the night of the indictment, a couple days ago. He had to make a video about it because, I mean, he has to get the views, and the ad revenue. So let's watch Kyle Kalinski's reaction. You don't see his face here because, This happened Tuesday night, so let's watch this.
I was about 5 minutes from going to sleep, and then we just got
5 minutes to go to sleep, and he had to tell the truth. He had to make this video for reasons.
hit with a nuclear bomb of an indictment coming out of Georgia against Donald Trump. So this was, of course, Fani Willis and what she's been working on. This stuff is astonishing, man. So buckle up, because they're throwing the book at everybody who was involved with Trump's scheme to overthrow the election. So first, let's talk about the charges against Trump. There are 13 felony charges in total
Oh,
against
by the way, all these charges are nonsense. But I mean, let's let Kyle Kalinske pretend that they're real charges.
Trump, and here they are. Violation of the Georgia RICO Act, which is normally used to go after the mafia, but in the case of Georgia, it's broad enough.
Yeah, I mean, and normally they go after the mafia, but now we're going after Trump, so it's okay to use it against Trump, even though he's not a part of the mafia. Oops, sorry.
Or can be used to go after any kind of organized crime or organized criminal scheme. So in Georgia, he is being charged with the RICO Act. There was speculation of that the other day that we covered. Solicitation of violation of oath by public officer, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, conspiracy to commit false statements in writings, conspiracy to commit filing false documents, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, conspiracy to commit false statements and writings, filing false documents, solicitation of violation of oath by public officer, false statements and writings, solicitation of violation of oath by public officer, and false statements and writings. Obviously, there's multiple counts of the same crime that are.
Even though most of these are perfectly legal because they never really lied to government officials. They lied to other people, to random people. But as long as you don't lie under oath, a lot of this is perfectly legal. Let's be clear.
That are in here. So overall, guys, it's a 41 count indictment against Donald Trump and 18 other people. Look at this. Look at all the people involved. You have Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani.
All right, these are all the alleged co-conspirators, which Kyle's gonna act like they actually are guilty, even though there's no evidence for any of this. Donald Trump. These are the indicted in Georgia's 2020 election case. Trump, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Kenneth Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Ellis, Ray Smith III, Bob Cheesley, Michael Roman, David Schaefer, Sean Still, Stephen Cliffguard, Harrison Floyd, Trevion Clitty, Sidney Powell, Kathy Latham, Scott Hall, and Misty Hampton. Scott Hall is a bail bondsman, and he's somehow involved in this indictment, guys. This conspiracy, ridiculous.
John Eastman, the psycho lawyer who said that Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act to
The psycho lawyer. Yeah, I mean, randomly, let's just call him psycho for no reason. Oops.
stay in office. He led the charge with his crackpot fake judicial theories, attempting
Mm-hmm.
to commit lawfare to keep Trump in office. Mark
Right.
Meadows. Now, by the way, there's also some evidence that Mark Meadows is cooperating in these various criminal cases and has.
There's really no evidence except for that Mark Meadows wants a case, his case to move to federal court. He filed that his lawyer filed that motion recently to move the case to federal court. But as far as I know, there's no real evidence that Mark Meadows is cooperating with these investigations.
Probably flipped on Trump. Kenneth Cheeseborough.
Probably flipped on Trump. No evidence for that, but Kyle says that Mark Meadows is probably flipped on Trump.
Who still has the funniest name of all time. Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Ellis, Ray Smith, Bob Cheeley, Michael Roman. Some of these names I don't even know, but these are all people who played different roles in attempting.
No. They allegedly play roles in this. You can't say that they did play roles in this. That's just a lie.
To overturn the election. Like, for example, one of the people who's on this list is the person in Georgia who illegally gave access to Trump and his team to the voting data after Election Day. That's the breach that we talked about, I think it was today on the show. We also have Sidney Powell is being charged. She, of course, was so psychotic and so over the top and so extreme and so insane that after a while, even the Trump campaign, or I should say the Trump White House, distanced themselves from her because she came up with all these kooky conspiracy theories that Hugo Chavez in Venezuela actually overthrew the election and rigged the voting machines to give it to Joe Biden. Well, apparently she was involved in the criminal conspiracy theory as well. So, guys, I mean, I can't overstate
She was allegedly involved. You can't just say she was involved. I mean, this is so dishonest.
this. The amount of work that had to go into this from
The amount of work, really. I mean, all I saw in the indictment was nothing but tweets from Donald Trump and retweets from the other alleged co-conspirators. But somehow there was a lot of work involved in this.
Fannie Willis was immense. She had to dot every I and cross every T and
No, she didn't. She just looked at a bunch of tweets from these people. That's what her indictment showed. It's beyond a joke and beyond ridiculous. And this woman should be not indicted, but disbarred as soon as possible. This is embarrassing.
gather all the evidence and talk to all the people and get certain people to flip and give more information. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, man. So, again, I want to reiterate 13 charges against Trump in this indictment. It's a 41 count indictment against Trump and 18 other people. And let me also show you this. So, Trump, of course, released a statement immediately.
Okay? It's just nonsense. There's nothing there but tweets and other crap, and Kyle acts like this is a big deal, and somehow it's going to take down Trump. Classic Kyle Kalinske, by the way, because all he does these days is, this time, we swear, guys, this time, Trump will be taken down. Trust us.
And he did his classic Trump routine. Like Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, deranged Jack Smith, and New York AG Letitia James, Fulton County, Georgia's radical Democrat district.
Like Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, deranged Jack Smith, and New York AG Letitia James. Fulton County Radical Democrat District Attorney Fannie Williams is a rabid partisan who is campaigning and fundraising on a platform of prosecuting President Trump through these bogus indictments, ripping a page out of the crooked Joe Biden playbook. Willis has strategically stalled her investigation and tried to maximally interfere with the 2024 presidential election and damage the dominant Trump campaign. All of these corrupt Democrats' attempt will fail. I love this. Is hilarious. Let's keep going.
District Attorney Fannie Willis is a rabid partisan who is campaigning and fundraising on a platform of prosecuting President Trump through these bogus indictments. And of course, he goes on, it's actually Joe Biden who's
Combined with the intentionally slow-walked investigation of the Biden-Smith goon squads and the false charges in New York, the timing of the latest coordinated strike by a biased prosecutor in overwhelming Democrat jurisdiction not only betrays the trust of the American people, but also exposes the true motivation driving their fabricated accusations. They could have brought these 2.5 years ago, which is a decent point. Yet they chose to do this in election interference reasons in the middle of President Trump's successful campaign. He is not only leading Republicans, but he's leading against Joe Biden in almost every poll. President Trump represents the greatest threat to these Democrats' political futures and the greatest hope for America. All right. So.
who's crooked. It's not me. They're interfering in the election.
Hmm.
This is, I like how he says, this is from the Biden-Smith goon squads. And he also goes on to give the only defense that he's been leaning on with these past indictments, which is free speech. It's my free speech to do fake electors slates.
Yeah, and how are you going to prove otherwise? It is free speech. He can do whatever he wants. He can run his mouth all day long. Now you have to prove that somehow his free speech equals a criminal conspiracy.
Defraud the United States government, try to disenfranchise millions of voters, and do a conspiracy to do a coup. This is all my free speech. And look, I haven't had time yet to go through. It's a very, very long indictment.
Oh no, he doesn't. Kyle has to have time. He's a very busy man. He can't read a 90-page indictment, even though it takes about an hour maybe to read the whole indictment.
Obviously, I have gone through the entire 45-page Jack Smith indictment, and we debated that the other day with Michael Tracy. But I'm sure there are many gems inside this indictment. I will get around to reading the entire thing. I'm just giving you the preliminary.
I will get around to reading the entire thing. I just won't do it right now. I mean, I just spent, what, 10 minutes making this video. But I haven't read the indictment yet, guys. Unbelievable.
Breakdown right now, but I should also show you this because this is one of the things that has popped up already. The Fulton indictment says that Trump and an unindicted co-conspirator, even before Election Day 2020, drafted a speech with false claims of voter fraud.
Yeah, that's not illegal. That's literally not illegal. The Fulton indictment says Trump and an unindicted co-conspirator, even before Election Day 2020, drafted a speech with false claims of voter fraud. That's not illegal. He can draft whatever speech he fucking wants. It's perfectly legal for him to do that. Let's read this. Act 1. On or about the 4th day of November 2020, Donald John Trump made a nationally televised speech falsely declaring the victory in 2020 presidential election. Approximately 4 days later, on or about October 21st, 2020, Donald John Trump discussed a draft speech with an unindicted co-conspirator, Individual 1, whose identity is known to the grand jury, that falsely declared victory and falsely claimed voter fraud. The speech was an overt act of furtherance in a conspiracy. No, it's not. It's just Donald Trump randomly giving a speech saying that he won the election. That's not a conspiracy. It's beyond ridiculous that people think this is a conspiracy.
So they say that one of these people, is cooperating with the authorities and says on October 31st, 2020, Trump discussed a draft speech with an unindicted co-conspirator whose identity is known to the grand jury that falsely declared victory and false claimed voter fraud. So in other words, he already had the wheels in motion before Election Day. In case he lost, he was going to double down and say he won, regardless of.
But what? It's perfectly legal. Yeah, he said, "Oh well, I actually won the guys." That's perfectly legal. It's not illegal. It just isn't illegal. I don't understand the.
The outcome, regardless of the facts. This speaks to the idea that is prevalent in the Jack Smith case, which is Jack Smith thinks he can prove Trump knew he was wrong, he knew he was lying, and he went ahead with a fake elector conspiracy theory.
Who cares whether he knew was wrong? He knew he's lying. Who cares? Who gives a shit? This is beyond embarrassing. Jack Smith knew Trump was lying. He's charging him with lies anyway, even though lying is perfectly legal, and all politicians lie. But who cares? I mean, we have to charge him with every crime in the book because he dared to lie to the American people. It's embarrassing. That's all they got.
Anyway, to defraud the U.S. government and try to disenfranchise millions of voters.
Imagine for a second if a Republican went after a Democrat for lying. How would these people? How would Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball and the Young Turks and all these fuckers react? They'd be very angry. How dare you? All politicians lie. Yeah, our politicians. It's okay for us to lie.
Which is a crime. And
It
so it
isn't
looks
a
like a
crime.
tremendous amount of work went into this from Fannie Willis in Georgia. Huge news. Honestly, the most detailed indictment yet. 13 criminal charges, 41 count.
The most detailed indictment yet. If you read the whole indictment, it's just nonsense. It's not detailed. There's nothing there. It's just like a bunch of tweets, a bunch of retweets, and somehow that's a furtherance of the conspiracy. And which is why she gets to charge a bunch of people with the RICO Act, even though RICO Act is designed for the mob and for organized crime. But the retweets and a bunch of tweets. That's all our evidence for we that way we get to charge people with RICO crimes, even though that's all for the mob and stuff. Embarrassing.
Indictment against Trump and 18 other people. I mean, they're going after everybody and their grandma who was involved in this corrupt scheme.
And you don't see nothing wrong with that? I mean, they're going after everyone with no evidence whatsoever. This is okay. Let's just indict everyone, and hopefully, maybe one or two of those guys will flip on Trump and somehow give us evidence to convict them. That's what it's all about. This isn't about. This isn't about actually holding people to account. This is about we can't let Donald Trump become president again. So let's just indict him with everything we can think of, with no evidence and with no connection to any crime whatsoever.
And it looks like they probably have the goods.
No, they
So
don't.
we'll end on
That's bullshit.
this note. As I always tell you guys, it's the Mark Levin rule. If Trump goes down on even one of these charges, of his roughly 1,812 charges that have come in recent time, then he's screwed. Then he's toast. And so now it just becomes a matter of the
Yeah,
timeline.
he isn't going down for any of these crimes. They're all wasted time. They're all just virtue signaling, grandstanding by the elite. It's embarrassing.
Right? How quickly can you get this stuff done? Um, how quickly can you get him behind bars? Because some of these things, the RICO statute, that has a mandatory minimum with it. And that's only
Yeah, he'll never be convicted for it, Kyle. So it's kind of pointless for you to say that. Well, it has a mandatory minimum conviction for it. Minimum sentence rather.
one of the charges. And these are all felonies. And he's facing all these cases. So anyway, really, really, really wild stuff. And huge news. And like I said, a nuclear bomb.
It isn't huge news. This is nonsense. Well, that's that. Excuse me. Well, that's that. I showed you guys how this is all nonsense. This fourth indictment slash prosecution or whatever, it's just more nonsense from the Democrats. Because they have to get rid of Trump somehow. So this is all nonsense. There's no evidence for any of this, any of these four indictments that happen. It's just that okay, we have to do something. We can't allow Trump to be president again, right? So we have to do everything we can to stop him. We have to stop him from becoming president. Oh well, we have to make up charges. Let's make up charges. Just make it up. Who cares? The media will never ever, challenge us all our fake evidence. So it doesn't matter, right? Come on, doesn't matter at all. As long as we'll charge whoever we have to charge, and even if it means, even if we make up stuff, it doesn't matter. Because the media will never call us out on it. The corporate media or most online media will not call them out on it because ultimately they all want to take Trump down. Donald Trump is some kind of special evil according to these people. According to all these liberals and all these Democrats, even though Democrats themselves denied the 2016 election for years to this day, still denied the 2016 election. It's like, well, the Russians helped Trump. The Russians, they're bad people, right? They helped Trump win, and Queen Hillary lost because of the Russians. All of a sudden now Trump, acts like, oh well, I didn't lose 2020. All of a sudden it's crimes, shit ton of crimes, shit tons of charges. He's a horrible person. Fuck the Orange Man bad. Even though Hillary Clinton and the Democrats did the exact same thing. They denied the 2016 election for years. None of them gets charged. But somehow Donald Trump gets charged like he's some kind of special evil? That it's beyond ridiculous. It's beyond embarrassing. People take this seriously. And I just don't understand anybody takes it seriously. It's beyond embarrassing. I mean, if you take all these prosecutions seriously and act like, well, I mean, it's obvious Trump guilty. Oh, Hillary Clinton and Democrats do the exact same thing. Doesn't matter. I mean, we're Democrats. Trump is a Republican, so by definition, he's evil. He's an evil man. He's an evil piece of shit. I mean, so Hillary Clinton and Democrats, it's okay for them to deny election results. They denied the 2000 election results. They denied the 2004 election results. They denied the 2016 election results. They will deny 2024 when they lose. I think they will lose with Trump in 2024. They deny those results, but it's okay for Democrats to deny election results. Republicans, nah, that's a special evil. They need to be in jail. Donald Trump needs to be in jail, and all this other crap. So there's a double standard here, which is obvious to me. It should be obvious to everybody who's watching this. If you're not a partisan hack, if you don't have Trump derangement syndrome, no, I mean, other than that, I mean, if you don't have those things, you're not a partisan Democrat, or you don't have Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome, then you should know that this is ridiculous. These charges are ridiculous. All four of them, all four of these indictments are ridiculous. They're embarrassing. And these people should be disbarred for even bringing these charges against Trump. And it isn't about even defending Trump. If this happened reverse, let's say a bunch of Republicans were charging Biden with nonsense, yeah, I mean, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be doing a whole 2 hour stream about how nonsense the charges against Biden are. But they don't do that. It's Trump. It's against Trump. Everything's against Trump. And this is ridiculous. It's beyond embarrassing. It's beyond ridiculous. And, I'm just going to leave off from that because or else I'm going to spend another half an hour explaining how ridiculous this is. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching me. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I'll see you guys next week, next Friday. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share the screen. Share the stream. I said share the screen, which is nice. You know what I mean? Very brilliant. But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the stream. I will see you guys next week, next Friday afternoon, hopefully, and hope everyone has a nice weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. See you guys next Friday at probably 1 o'clock Eastern, hopefully. I'll let you know on Twitter for sure what time I'm going to be on. Because, here you go, follow me on, is my tweets. Those are my handles. So if you haven't already followed, make sure you follow. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.